Hello, everyone, and welcome on a conference dedicated to XTPL 2024 financial results. My name is Mardoniusz Maćkowiak, and I represent CC Group, an investor relations advisor. Together with me, we have XTPL Management Board, Mr. Filip Granek, Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Jacek Olszański, Chief Financial Officer. The meeting will be divided into two parts, an investor presentation and Q&A session. I would like to invite you to participate and encourage you to ask your questions. And for now, that's all from my side. Mr. Filip Granek, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much and welcome. My name is Filip Granek.
My name is Jacek Olszański. Welcome.
And together we will walk you through our financial results of the year 2024. The plan of our presentation is to kick off with executive summary. Then I will walk you through general information about our company and about our current business development and market traction activities. And then I will hand over to Jacek, who will guide you on the financial results and the outlook. So starting with executive summary and the key points of the last year. The key growth engine for XTPL is to bring our technological solution into industrial reality. And we're really happy that after a very strong and dedicated effort in the year 24, just at the beginning of the year 25, we were able to announce that we have the first industrial implementation of our technology. And this is with a partner in China and in the industry of advanced high-resolution flat panel displays related to glasses and smartwatches, so very small displays with very high resolution. This is a key milestone in the history of our company to arrive at the point where the decision about industrial implementation will take place, and there was a lot of work last year that led to that, and we will be happy to dive deeper into details of this deal in the later part of the presentation. We want to also highlight that next to this successful industrial implementation that started early this year, we are running advanced technological evaluations at a very advanced stage that we hope will translate into another industrial implementation. Maybe one of them will already translate to another industrial implementation already this year. And we're working there with partners from Korea, Taiwan, and United States in the industries of semiconductor industry and industry of flat panel displays. Historically, our biggest revenue driver over the last year was the sale of Delta printing systems, our first product. So last year we had a sale of 12. We delivered 12 systems globally. This is more like on stable development if you compare year over year, year 23 and year 24. But the difference is that in the year 23, we had a big one-off event where we sold 9 systems to China. Only to China we sold 9 systems because there was a post-COVID impulse for academia in China, and this economic impulse helped us to sell more systems there. But that was 1-year thing. We were excited to catch this wave. But this year is more evenly distributed, more organic, and more in the way we want to grow. So we're growing on different regions to different customer types without one being the single driver of the growth. In terms of our business development activities, we want to highlight that last year we've opened a business center in Boston. This is our sales and demonstration center where we sell our systems to North American customers and we demonstrate our technology there. We're really happy about how this office is already developing, and it achieved break even already on the first year of its operation. So that's a great news for us, and it already helped us identify new market opportunities that translated to the first historical sale of XTPL products to the defense industry. And earlier this year, we announced the first historical sale of our Delta printing system to a defense contractor in US, and that's a again, a result of hard work of our US operations in the year 24.
Our key numbers of 2024 are 12.3 million zloty sales revenues, similar like in 2023. The record-breaking fourth quarter 2024 with 5.6 million zloty revenues, 27.7 million zloty cash at the end of December, includes share issue proceeds obtained in last quarter 2024, 4.4 million zloty inventories with potential to generate approximately 10 million zloty in sales, and 16 industry events when we visited in 2024.
So I will now walk you through the more basic information about the company. And please, let's start with the fact that we are a deep technology company, a company that is based on a technology we have developed and incubated over the first years of our existence. You can look at it as a small circle inside of the graph. That was the incubation phase of our technology, where no commercial revenue was generated, but the technology and the strong IP, intellectual property portfolio, has been developed. Next, we had a stage of initial, I call it getting out of the building, getting initial customer traction and selling the first products and reaching a milestone of roughly 10 million Polish zloty annual revenue. This is driven by the initial acceptance of our product and offerings, and we sold products in 3 business lines. I will get back to that in a second. And now the next circle, growing circle, is where we are getting out of the initial customer tractions who are doing technology evaluation with our products, and we're getting into industrial reality, when we're getting into industrial implementation. And that's the engine for long-term growth and significant growth for the company that we're entering. And our ambitions are pretty big. Of course, we want to humbly and with hard work approach it, but we take it step by step. The technology development, market introduction of the first product, mostly for research and development customers, and now getting to the phase of our life where we have first industrial implementations, and after the first one, we expect the next ones to come and to support our growth. The technology uniqueness, it's about printing inks, special inks for manufacturing of electronics. And what is unique about our ink printing is that we can print very small structures, and at the same time, we can print structures with inks of very high viscosity. And the combination of the precision of printing structures that are roughly 100 times smaller than the width of the human hair, with the inks of the viscosity of like honey, not like water, but honey, highly viscous inks. This is actually where we're pretty much a unique offering globally. And this is a combination that is being demanded by advanced microelectronic industry. The technology, how you can imagine it, you can imagine as a pen that is a very small micrometer scale pen that is writing with a special metallic ink, not just on a flat surface, but also on a complicated 3-dimensional topography. And our skill is not just to write, again, on the flat surfaces, but also on the curved and on micro topographies, so very complicated substrates. And this is actually what modern electronics is all about: a lot of miniaturization and a lot of micro topographies. We encourage you, if you're interested, to look up our YouTube channel and see some of the cartoons and videos and explainer videos that help to understand how our technology works. Why we believe that technology like ours makes sense for modern electronics? Because there is actually a big pressure on the market and big mega trends that are driving the market changes. And when I'm talking about the market, I'm talking about the way microelectronics is being manufactured. And these trends are First of all, miniaturization. Microelectronics is under constant pressure of making things smaller, more efficient in terms of smaller volume. The second big trend is that electronics is changing its shapes and form factors. It's not flat anymore, it becomes flexible, it becomes three-dimensional. So new technologies that adapt to this three-dimensional shapes are important. And finally, in microelectronic domain, like in any other industries, there is a pressure on green manufacturing, on very efficient use of limited materials. And our technology has the advantage of almost 100% utilization of advanced materials, of expensive materials. So there is a strong reduction in waste when using technologies like XTPL. Finally, we're inside of a market called printed electronics market, and market reports show that this printing of electronics, bringing printing technologies into making next generation electronics, this market is becoming more and more, is growing, and it's growing actually dynamically, and the market CAGR is projected for the next year is over 20%. Intellectual property is a key to secure a long-term market position and a strong market position if we want to compete globally, and that's exactly our plan. So we have effectively and efficiently been building our intellectual property portfolio over the last years. We have now 44 individual patent granted. They are around our inks, our printing method, our apparatus. So it's a well-designed portfolio of patents. And in the year 24 alone, we had 15 patents granted only in 1 year. So you can imagine that our patent portfolio is rapidly growing, and we feel that our intellectual property is secured for the next 2 decades in a good way. Now moving on to the section on our business activities. It's important to start with the perspective that although we started locally from incubating our technology in Poland, our vision from the day one is to become a global player. And we are a global player in a sense already now, because we're delivering solutions to customers globally to over 20 countries now, in Europe, in North America, in selected Asian countries. We run 2 offices. The headquarter office with R&D, with production, is in Poland, in Wrocław. But we, as I mentioned, we already have an office in Boston, in USA, where we do demonstration and sale of our products and services to North American countries, to North American customers. Next to our own offices, we collaborate with distributors, and you will see them as yellow points on the map. These are partners who help us access the customers far away from our offices, and they also support engaging customers that we would typically not have access to. So we look at our sales activities as hybrid process, where we both do direct sales, but also we run sales via distributors. Our Boston office and setting up our Boston demo center was a big event for XTPL in the year 24. It's our first international office. It was our big strategic goal to grow our presence and our visibility on the North American market. So we're really happy that establishing this office has already proven successful. As I said, there was a operational break-even for this office already in the first year. In the year 24, we delivered 5 systems to both US and Canada, together to both US and Canada. And we're running one industrial implementation project with a US-based corporation. Our office in Boston is, as I said, a sales office run by our experienced sales manager, Urs Berger. But also there is a lab where we have our printer, where we can run demonstration projects for the customers who want to visit. And we have an application engineer who is supporting demonstrations, but also supporting installation and general support to the customers in US. The key highlight, one of the key highlights that I already mentioned of this office, is that its operation and its activity and the ability to grow more intimate and closer contact to US partners resulted in our historical first sale of a system to a defense industry. That was the sale of Delta printing system to the defense contractor. We reported it this year, but of course, these processes are lengthy. So it all started in the year 24, and our operational presence and the ability to work closer to US customers was very helpful in that process. Now a comment to our first industrial implementation project. This is a project that we announced earlier this year, but it was a project that started April 24. This is a project that started by introducing our technology to a Chinese manufacturer of advanced flat panel display, which is the biggest Chinese manufacturer of flat panel display, with annual revenue of over $20 billion, so a very significant global player. And our local distributor in China, the Yixin company, after it was very successful in bringing our R&D products, our Delta printing system, to the Chinese market in the year 23, and by building this initial recognition and credibility of our offering, it helped us to get into contact with industrial customer there, and it translated into a very dynamic process that finalized in January 25 with the announcement of the sale of the first batch of print modules that we deliver to become part of bigger machines that at the end will be part of the big production lines of modern flat panel displays. What is the role our technology plays in that value chain? Our job, or the job of our technology, is to automatically repair defected displays or the displays that do not meet the very complicated and demanding specification. And you can be surprised that in this advanced modern microelectronic domain, as much as 50% of the production products will not meet the desired specification, and wasting them would be very expensive, would be very unreasonable in a way. So any defects or any imperfection that can be replaced inside of can be repaired inside of the production line makes sense, and that's where our technology comes in handy. This is a great confirmation of our technological readiness level, that an industrial player is ready to move forward with bringing this technology into the reality of not just evaluation, but industrial implementation of the technology. We expect this to have a spillover effect on our other industrial projects, who are also recognizing that XTPL is moving forward, the technology maturity level is increasing. So it helps us, it will also help us to grow and maybe speed up other projects. This particular project, what we expect out of that, we expect that over the next 3 years, this individual project will consume roughly 50 to maybe 100 unique modules of XTPL delivery. And each of these modules will then, after it's installed, will require consumable materials, so usable materials like inks, nozzles, that we will also be providing. So alone, this project is already may have a significant impact on our revenue growth, but it is also a very fundamental key milestone showing that we're moving forward with our technology. Next to this Chinese successful project, we're actually running a portfolio of 20 projects aimed at ultimately industrial implementation, and each of this industrial implementation may have a potential of, say, tens of systems sold to each project, maybe 50, maybe up to 100. So a combination of all of this project may pose a pretty big, significant opportunity for XTPL. But these projects are at different stages. They are in different countries and in different regions, but it's important that on top of this one full industrial implementation, we have also 3 projects that are quite advanced in their development, and these are projects that we're showing here. The Chinese project I already covered, but there is a project in South Korea on advanced flat panel display, where the end customer is one of the leaders in flat panel display industry, global leaders. We have one project with a US partner aimed at flat panel displays and semiconductor industry, and our direct partner is a NASDAQ 100 company, so one of the top manufacturers of industrial machines in the United States. And there is a project in Taiwan focused on semiconductor industry for advanced packaging there. This is a project that is aimed at solving a problem or a challenge or technological need of one of the global leaders of semiconductor industry with headquarters in Taiwan. Our expectation is that this calendar year we can expect, or we want to expect, one more industrial implementation news after the Chinese industrial implementation. This is a reasonable assumption, but at the same time, we have to be clear that we are not the ones who are controlling the decision-making process. So this is a complex system where the end manufacturer of electronics is making decision about at which speed they are implementing new production lines, and then this domino effect will then impact on when our technology is really needed. So we are not deciding on the time dynamics, but there are reasons to expect that it is not impossible that this year still another industrial implementation may be announced. Now, looking at our product portfolio, we are running machine and equipment manufacturing, but also materials as an ink manufacturing. And this is a complementary offering, and most of our clients want to work with our equipment and our ink because that brings them a total solution that in many cases is a winning one. So on the material side, we're delivering metallic inks for printing electrically conductive structures with silver, gold, and with very advanced with copper offering, which is important for electronics. And on the equipment side, we are selling Delta printing system, which is designed for R&D customers. We are running industrial implementation, that's the UPD modules for industrial implementation, where we're delivering a component, a print engine that becomes part of bigger machines. And we have also identified a niche, a market need for a product in between Delta printing system and the UPD module, and we call it a DPS Plus, which is a standalone system for high mix, low volume manufacturing customers who want a more powerful solution than Delta, but they are not interested in a big industrial equipment because they are not producing millions of components every year, but rather thousands of components. So this is a interesting new product we're working on based on the customer requests. To give you some flavor on what's happening with our key revenue driver, which is currently our Delta printing system. Historically, we have already 38, close to 40 systems ordered by customers globally. We see a growth in the need of these systems for industrial customers. Initially, most of the customers were research institutes, academia, but now we see more and more customers from industry being interested in that system, which is great because it's not just helping us sell more systems, but also it helps us to build collaborations and potentially long-term collaborations with industrial members who, after testing our technology on the Delta printing system, may be interested in moving forward with the industrial implementation. One thing I want to comment also here is that, as mentioned at the beginning, you will not see a rapid growth in sale of DPS from 23 to 24. The 23 was strongly driven by a one-off event. It was a Chinese post-COVID impulse, economical impulse that we are happy to catch as a wave. It was 9 systems were ordered from China alone in the year 23. This year, or the year 24, it's a more uniform distribution. This is more what we want. This is more what we wish to have. So you will see a more uniform distribution of customers globally, and that builds a good foundation for the growth for the next years. Our outlook for this year is that we expect a larger sale of systems year over year. It is difficult for us to have a very precise prognosis of the amount of systems to be sold, because there are impacts of changes in market conditions, like current changes in tariff situation, which is not, I mean, for US market, which is not making us lose any opportunities, but it impacts the speed of getting the purchase order in. If one of our customers or some of our customers, they really want to buy the system, but the tax situation, the tariff situation is changing, or maybe the funding they were promised from Washington is being frozen for the moment or being reviewed for the moment. This impacts the point in time where we will recognize this orders, but it will translate to something like a delay rather than to losing any of the opportunities. And finally, our value supply chain is independent from the US-China challenges, tariff challenges. So we source our key components not from China, so we will not see any complications by exporting our systems to North American market because of any component restrictions. The Delta Printing System Plus, DPS Plus, that's our code name for the product that we're incubating for the high mix, low volume customers. We are driving this development by the challenges and the specifications given us by the initial pilot customers. We expect, or we may, I would say, we expect that we can see first orders for this system still in the calendar year 25, but we do not expect the sale of the system to impact the year 25 results. So it means that even if the system will be ordered this year, it will be most probably, or it will be 100% delivered in the year 26, and it will impact the revenue growth of the year 26 and plus. And our final business line, a short comment on our high performance materials, our nano inks. Last year we received over 100 individual orders for these materials. You will see that here the industrial percentage of our orders is actually bigger than academic orders. This is maybe a little bit too expected because academics usually work a little bit less with the systems, and industrial customers, they work very intensively. So that translates to more material that they need over the longer term. So that is actually what we like, and that's what we expect. We have now our offering mostly on silver and gold products, but we're also incubating copper ink to be available later this year. So this is also a good development that will help us grow the portfolio of solutions we can offer with our high performance materials. And now I hand over to Jacek.
Commercial sales in 2024 were slightly lower than in the previous year, but we should remember that about the post-COVID recovery in China in 2023, which benefited XTPL with 9 deliveries. In 2024, the geographical structure of sales is more equal. The year 2024 marked a successful market entry for our Boston-based company with 5 deliveries. Throughout 2024, we saw a similar number of DPS devices as in 2023, 12 compared to 13, and the same number of UPD modules, it means 2. Sales in 2024 didn't reach our target level, but I'd like to emphasize that this is the result of slower, longer sales and development processes, and not the loss of specific projects or customers. The commercialization of all business lines is progressing. and will have a positive impact on sales in 2025 and 26, supported by the first industrial implementation. You may notice significant increase in operating costs in 2024. This is related to the implementation of an investment program that has enabled XTPL to transform into an organization capable of handling industrial contracts. We confirmed the first delivery of UPD modules to industrial lines at the beginning of 2025. This was possible thanks to the acquisition of a number of new competence in areas of production, sales, marketing, and R&D. Similarly, we have already confirmed an order from a US customer in defense industry, which is extremely interesting for us in terms of its potential for the coming years. We have strengthened our organizational structure, but it is reflected in higher operating costs. CapEx expenditure was slightly lower than 2023, but in reality, the increase in operating costs should be treated as an investment in the organization. On this slide, I like to focus on what we have done to enable XTPL to advance from a company developing attractive technology to a supplier for industry. And in the area of sales and marketing, we have built a business development team, opened a foreign demonstration and sales center in Boston, USA, and expanded the network of international distributors. In the area of production, with doubling the production rate in DPS, we done a reduction in the delivery time of DPS devices to clients and secured stock of key components for production. And in R&D area, it was intensive work on the development of existing and new products as DPS Plus device or multi-head module with 8 nozzles compared to 1 nozzle in our current products. And as a whole organization, we implemented of new management processes and systems, and we created a new team to manage current and future products. This chart shows the main streams in our cash flow and confirms the scale of the investment in XTPL's development. Growing sales should gradually flatten this chart, providing cash inflows. I like to emphasize that our project management is dynamic in nature. It means that we can quickly start or stop some projects depending on the current situation, which is reflected in our operating costs. We want to grow fast, but we also keep financial security in mind. And that's why we'll be trying to get new grants for our project this year, as well as debt financing. A brief A reminder of the company strategy for 2023-26. We want to grow our business fast. The main driver of this growth is the sale of UPD modules as a result of completing industrial projects. This product group is characterized by multiple orders from a single customer over a period about 3 to 7 years. This year we are executing our first order, where the final recipient and user will be one of the largest display manufacturers located in China. We hope that this year we move to commercial stage in the next industrial project, probably located in Asia. We estimate that in 2026, our sales will be further strengthened by a new product, DPS Plus, dedicated to industrial use for small production series. We predict the first orders for this product this year. To achieve this, XTPL has developed key areas: sales, production, and R&D. 2024 was a year of intensive development for the company as an organization. It didn't give us satisfaction in terms of sales revenue, but the work done and the expenditure incurred are beginning to bear fruit next years. This slide shows our way to transformation into full supplier for the industry. And this is how we done and how we would like in 2026. Short summary: XTPL is a high-tech company developing and selling technology of ultra-precise dispensing and printing conductive lines. In our pipeline, we have 9 commercial projects with big potential to generate of sales. We sold 4 prototypes, industrial machines equipped with UPD model and projected dynamic growth. This is all for our side. Thank you for your attention, and we are waiting for your questions.
Yes, thank you very much. The Q&A. We have a couple of questions starting the industry implementation. What is the long-term potential of the multi-class process? Korea, Taiwan, and
So we have a little bit problems hearing you, Mardek, but we will read the questions asked. What is the sales potential of the most advanced projects? Okay, so the potential in case of the industrial projects, we look at these projects, we translate them in our heads into the amount of print modules that can be delivered to a given project, to a given customer, and not delivered in one day, but over, let's say, the 3 years, that usually the ramping up of the production of a given project takes time. So in our minds, we usually look at this project as how many of these units we need to deliver over time, and what is the unit price So starting from the unit price, depending on the configuration of the project, this will be between 50,000 euros up to 100,000 euros. So that's the price range of individual module, and the number of modules that each of this project has a potential. It's between 50 modules per one project, up to over 100 systems, maybe up to 150 systems for a given project. Now, we do not have a very clear evaluation or the information from our partners how big very precisely each of this project is. This is usually the decision of the end manufacturer of electronics and their ramp up and their intimate internal discussions, and what they communicate outside is just enough so that they can move one step forward. So that's not always a perfectly clear story, but we look and we analyze the parallel projects, other projects in industry, where we try to see how many of given machines need to be installed in a big production floor to match the required capacity of a given production project. So I will not now discriminate between these three projects, Korean, Taiwanese, and American, which one is how big and which one is how small, but you can look at them potentially as projects in the range of 50 to 100 units, and each unit is 50 to 100,000 $1,000 per piece. Yes.
And the next question, which project has the highest chance to deliver next industrial implementation in 2025? Could you please specify the expected timeline?
Okay, so now we hear you very well. So that's the next project. So again, one of the three projects that we just discussed, Taiwanese, Korean, and US, these are the most advanced projects after the first Chinese implementation. And maybe the safest response would be that with high probability it will be one of these projects that will be still, we will go into the industrial implementation this year. Which is the hottest out of this three? This, to be honest, changes. The Korean project had the biggest dynamic and still is very intense. But over the last months, so this year development is also quite interesting in our Taiwanese project. So these are probably the two more probable candidates out of the three, but it's difficult to say with certainty which one will be the first. And I also want to be clear that it's not us who is making the decision. It's not even our direct customer who is building the big equipment who's making the decision. It's their end customer, the big either semiconductor industry player or flat panel display industry player, and they have their strategic decision about when and how to ramp up a production of their next generation product. And we're rather a smaller player in that whole structure and not the critical one in terms of decision-making process. So we try to read the room, we try to get as much inputs as possible, but we do not have this full certainty and clarity that we can report back to you when exactly will which project happen, unfortunately.
Next question, how many projects could reach next development stage in 2025?
In year 25, yes. So yeah, so we have a portfolio of now roughly 20 industrial projects at different the advancement stage. The top three and the one that is already implemented, we already covered. So I assume the question is, is there a chance that out of the top three or top four, there will be top five or top six by the end of the year? So some of the projects that are at the lower stage will be upgraded and will have a good dynamic this year. Yes, we do not exclude that. This is a pretty significant probability that one of the projects we're having at the lower development stage currently will grow. The trajectory of these projects is that they are not competing against each other. So a success of one project is not stopping a success of another project, and the failure of one project will not fail automatically other projects. So this is a good thing. And historically, yeah, we started with 0 projects and then they were growing as we move. So I would say in a very soft commitment, yes, it is to be expected that one of the lowly or at the lower development stage projects will reach the stage 4, so the industrial prototype development still this year.
Thank you very much. I hope I can be heard right now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. The next question: on what assumptions do you expect further growth in sales of your products in 2025 and in 2026?
Okay, so the question is, what can be the engine for our further growth? So first of all, we will continue growth of sales of our, let's say, starting product, the first product, Delta printing system. And over the first years of the first years of market introduction of this product, we were just talking to mostly innovators and early adopters of this product. So a very small niche around the bigger market of customers who might be interested in a product like Delta printing system. The nature of bringing innovation and disruptive innovation to the market is that initially you take a lot of effort to build the first seed market, the first customers, and win their excitement, hopefully satisfaction. And we have been successful with that, and that's almost 40 systems sold to innovators globally, both in academia and in corporate research. And after this initial implementation towards early adopters and innovators, there will be another group of customers, which is a much bigger one, that can pick up the sales. So that's maybe our first argumentation, that there is room to grow for Delta printing system sales. The second growth engine, the engine for growth, is our industrial implementations. Historically, we have been delivering maybe 1 or 2 print engines, print modules per year, because these were just initial evaluations, initial tests of our technology in that domain. This year already, we started the year with an order for 6 modules inside of our initial batch of industrial implementation for Chinese partners. So already this year, we'll have a multiple of systems, UPD modules delivered to the market. And that's just because this is the initial first phase of the first industrial implementation. So if there will be the industrial implementation of this particular customer will grow, this will translate to more modules. And we expect more industrial implementations after the first one has been successfully delivered. And this is a really important milestone to recognize that having this first industrial implementation means that there is a probability that will be a second and a third and a 10th and the number 15 and 20 over the mid to long term. So this will be the second growth for our engine that was not really present in the previous years. And finally, we will have a contribution, not this year, but expected next year, of our new product, Delta DPS Plus, the code name for the machine for high mix, low volume manufacturing. So this will also support the growth. Now, what will be the dynamic of the growth? What will be the numbers? This is really tough to comment and to really give you a very strong guidance. This is maybe where that's the more challenging part to us. But all of these engines will contribute to the growth, and not only in the very long term, but also in the midterm development. So we expect the growth of sales already this year, and then over the next years as well.
Thank you very much. The next question: what is your current production capacity for Delta printing system and UPD models?
It is to calculate in Delta printing systems. One Delta printing system means two to 4 modules, and our current capacity is more than 30 units per year. But we are also finishing the contract with subcontractor from Europe, and our capacity should be rapidly grow.
Yes, it is important to understand that our vision is to secure the initial capacity for production internally for each new product. But as the pipeline and as the product matures and the market for the product matures, we want to expand the production capacity by working with contract manufacturers rather than building a big production capacity inside. And we believe that it may be optimal from inventory management, from supply chain management, and it actually will not be penalty for us in terms of margin, potential margin sales, because our internal production may not be the most optimal if we compare it to contract manufacturers who make a much larger quantities of projects, who have a much better supply contracts with key component suppliers. So at the end of the day, everyone can be successful, and we do not have to lose margin by working with contract manufacturers. What we do not want to outsource is our key technology development capabilities, intellectual property creation. So this is what we want to have inside, and we also want to drive the sales from inside of the organization.
Okay, we have last 3 questions to go. The first one, how might tariffs imposed by the US affect XTPL's business and future performance?
Yes, well, this is a rapidly changing and fluid situation, so we have to observe it carefully. But our first response to it is that XTPL products and our offering is not competing on the US market just because of the price. We're rather bringing innovation, and some change in the product pricing is not the killer or a winner or a killer for our market success. The market success is driven by our technology and about the ability of this technology to solve the problems of our customers. We're not competing with other players, and we're not trying to be 5% more expensive or less expensive. This is more a unique technology offering, and that makes us a little bit more, I don't want to say immune, but more resilient towards this tariff impacting on the pricing. But what actually is hurting us is some delays in the sale, in the purchasing processes of some of our US customers, because the rapidly changing tariff situation has the impact on their budget, and they have currently some budget allocation for the immediate purchase that they were already discussing since last year, because our sale is usually a lengthy process. It's not a quick turnaround process. It takes months to build a business case in many cases. So if the budget was secured to a given number, and now suddenly the number needs to be bigger because of the tariffs, it impacts the dynamics of some of the processes that we actually expected already by now to be sold. So we expected by now to have the purchase orders coming in, but now they are being delayed because the customer needs to solve this, let's say, short-term issue that is impacting our short-term deal flow. So that's maybe one negative impact. And the other negative impact is that because some of our customers are academic customers in US, and some of the programs that are financing academia has been put on freeze in Washington due to some additional checks and analysis. So some of the programs that were supposed to finance sale and purchase of our system to selected US universities are also seeing some delays. We're not seeing any opportunities that we lose. We just see some delays, and we don't like that. In terms of our supply chain, the way we structured our products is that we do not fear that there are some critical components inside of our products that would make us, difficult to sell to United States. We source our key components in Europe, and and that should not impact our capability and ability to sell to the US customers.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the question is, could you give us a little bit more color into the defense contractor who ordered your DPS device? Who started the initial contact, and could it evolve into a full-scale implementation?
Yeah, so first maybe note is that there's probably a limited amount of color we can give you, not because we don't want to, but also because we are not giving it. We're not giving a lot of in-depth information about the end application for our technology of this particular defense contractor case. So that's something I think we need to get used to as XTPL, because that's a new field for us, defense contractors. That's not a class of partners we've been dealing with a lot in before, but they don't want to do any tests with our labs in Poland, not even in Boston. They want to do some advanced evaluations for their particular needs in their own lab. So that's why they're buying the system. It's around modern electronics in defense contexts. So that would cover the verticals of advanced semiconductors, flat panel displays, maybe communication technologies. So that's where we probably cannot answer the question, what exactly is the use case that is being targeted, how quickly it can translate into a bigger implementation, and maybe the need to deliver more machine to this particular contractor. So this is still a lot of unknowns for us, unfortunately. How this contract was created, well, we are not yet widely known, especially not a widely known supplier to the defense industry. So we don't know honestly how to approach these players yet. So the only way to make a deal happen is to approach us, and that's actually what happened. That's we try to be visible. Jacek mentioned we've visited 16 trade shows globally where we try to promote our technology, build understanding that the technology like ours exists. And in many cases, it leads to the fact that some technology scouts, some next technology, next generation product development leaders are connecting the dots how our technology could bridge the gap that they want to achieve with their product. And that's how many of the discussions are starting. So this is still a relatively new event for us, and we would like to learn more about this particular industry. It's not a very easy game to learn for a company that has not traditionally been involved with defense sector. But I can already comment that today we have multiple opportunities that we didn't have maybe a few months back, multiple opportunities with defense contractors from North America that are in discussion with us about the sale of our products. So that's a positive development. Again, they are coming to us, they are engaging the relationship, and we're responding to that. We do not see this yet on the European level. We would love to see that on the European level, but I can only report today that we see it on the North American side.
Okay, great. The last question I see in the chat is, why did XTPL change its headquarters?
Yes, we moved location, or we're in the process of moving location in the same city where we're located, in Wrocław, in Poland. Our first part of our, let's say, existence was in the laboratories and offices rented from a public research and technology organization whose focus is on doing research, and just a smaller focus is to rent laboratory space to young technology companies. We, as a not so young anymore technology company, we needed our more independent space, more structured space to our need, with the rules that we decide. And actually it was, I think, the time for us to move out of this more incubator type of environment into a place where our organization can go to the next maturity level. So it's a kind of natural step that is part of our strategy of the year 26-24, the transformation of our organization. But I also want to emphasize that we were happy with the research center we were located in. We will keep good ties and collaborations. It's just our development needed this independence, and I think it will help us to be a stronger company. Financially, maybe the final comment maybe on that is it will not be a significant financial bigger burden to our P&L. Of course, the transition, the preparation of the laboratories in the new place, there is a one-off investment around that. But over the mid to long term, we do not expect a very big increase in costs, operational costs for our offices and labs. That was also part of our selection process, to be reasonable with costs, but to be in a location where we can be more one team, working on our rules and growing as an organization independently from the rules that were given to us in this incubator space before.
Okay, I think that concludes our today results conference. To participants and for all the questions that we could answer. And the last words I pass to the Mr. Filip Granek.
Yeah, so thank you for being with us for this conference. Thank you for following XTPL development, and we encourage you to continue following up on our developments. And in case you have additional questions or you want to clarify other things, please keep in touch on our investor relations email. And thank you again for participation.